Welcome back, everyone. It's another episode of the Steel Target Paint Podcast. I didn't check beforehand, but I know we're well over 100, and this might even be 110. Who knows? We could be in the 200s by now. Okay, I'm just being a little silly.
It feels like it sometimes. I'm
Hey,
just
you
kidding.
know what? We love doing it, and we're going to keep doing it
Yeah,
until we don't love it anymore. But right now, it's still a lot of fun. So, how are you doing today, Steve?
I'm doing good, Jeff, but I'm so busy I can hardly stand it. But there's worse problems to have, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, listen, let's do a little recap on West Florida. I will start out by saying it was the biggest match ever in the history of that match. Uh, 2 years ago, we were at 251, and I was ecstatic. Last year, it was 271 guns, and I was like, how is that going to be broken? And well, the shooters came up with a way to do it because this past year it was 301 guns.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, so some of us were talking while we were down there. Is this the seventh
This was the
match?
this was the eighth.
Eighth. Okay. Man, it
Yeah.
just seems like that match got going for sure.
Yeah, like that first year when we were completely drenched. Everybody thought 2 years ago was bad, or last year.
No.
That first
Yeah.
year
No,
was
no, no.
horrible.
Yeah, that was rough. I remember making the little boat.
Yes. And then we had the one year where we had it in like August, and there was
I
like
do.
700 cases of water that were out on the range, so people didn't fall out of exposure to the heat.
I do remember that one time, and I won't name names. Somebody did fall out at that match. I remember that.
But I don't think that person fell out because of the heat, did they?
No, no,
I
no,
think
no.
I think that person fell out because they happened to see blood coming out of someone else. If we're
Yeah, it
talking
was a
about the same
pretty.
person.
It is. It was a frag coming off of one of the plates on Pendulum.
Yep.
Remember it like it was yesterday. Yep.
Yep, the RO caught a shot right in
Oh,
the crook of his arm, and
oh,
it
it
hematomed
was.
like half a golf ball, even bigger. And one of the shooters, who will remain nameless until I feel like saying his name, but we'll just say that he and his wife, who happen to be on Steel Target Paint team,
Now
as
you're
you
narrowing
well,
it down too much.
well, there's still there's more than two couples on the team, so it's you got to figure it out. But yes, he actually said he did not like the sight of blood, and we found out that in fact that he didn't. So
Well, I thought at the time that there was something else going on, because everything kind
sure,
of happened pretty quick in a short period of time. And
yep,
yeah, I'm glad he was okay. It was,
yeah.
oof.
No, everybody ended up okay. In fact, uh, the RO came back and RO'd the rest of the match. But he had gone to the hospital, and they basically said, "Well, there's nothing we can do for you right now other than put a dressing on it." And they did that, and he came back. So, and he said that it wasn't a very big piece. It was a piece of casing, I think, that hit him. And he said it wasn't a very big piece, but it felt like a hot ball peen hammer had just been slammed into his arm.
Yeah, that was crazy. But on the
Yeah.
on to more exciting things, I
Yes.
was greeted by 83 hugs, which was awesome. But but probably the most awesome thing that happened that weekend was when I got to the range and I
Yeah.
saw this big life size, maybe a little bit larger than life, cutout of you acknowledging that Steve has a home
Yes.
range. That brought joy and happiness to my life.
So my friends had some fun with me again this year. And there was a life-size cutout of me at the mouth of the range, that said, drive fast, drive slow, shoot fast, speed limit 9.5 miles an hour. So that was funny. Then another one shows up
They
with a
multiply.
sign
They're
that
like they're
says,
like gremlins.
yes, exactly. It says, yes, Steve, I know you have a home range.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
And then it turns out there's a third one. and it said grip, grip, grip. So yeah, that was pretty special. That was they got me last year with them having shirts with my face on them, and this year with the cutouts, it was hilarious. It was hilarious. In fact, the one that says, "Yes, Steve, I have a home range," is actually in my loading room, and it's uh, it's going to stay there. It's a
Well,
great reminder of that match.
well, I wish I knew where the other two Jeff cutouts were.
Yeah, we'll talk about that on the next podcast. How about that? We'll give that history,
Okay,
but
that's
um
that's that's a good
no, getting
idea.
back to the match, one of the things that the whack we try to do is to put on a match for the shooters, and it's very difficult to try to match up to the event that say a Kurt Grimes does at Area 2. Um,
Oh, it's amazing.
that
Best
being
match ever.
yeah yeah that being said, we try to do our best, and so this year, as is a almost every year, we've had painters at this match, and this year was no exception. In fact, this year I actually had 4 to 5 um, ROs on each bay, on each
Yeah,
stage, and that way they could switch the duties of running the tablet or the timer and then painting. So no shooter had to paint, and it's just something that we like to do for them. We keep the cost down. We did that. One of the other things we did this year, now that my good friend Marcello is running our clubhouse, is while we still did kind of a subs meal for Saturday lunch, Sunday we did a full dress dinner. I believe it was a chicken dish. He's Italian. He's got the exact name for it, but it was very good. And I've talked to people since that match, and they're still raving about the food they got. I know you weren't able to stick around. You had to get scooted back home. You had, what is it, about 6 hours to your house?
yeah, it was just a little bit north of there. It's about 6.5 without traffic, with
Yeah,
maybe one stop. It took about 7 hours. So
yeah. So no, it's fully understandable. But yeah, we're already planning on what we can do next year for. I want to keep Saturday lunch light for
yeah,
those people that are shooting in the morning and shooting in the afternoon. Everybody
agreed.
loves pizza, but eating pizza before you're going to shoot, I don't want them going into carbo coma on the range for me. So
Well,
we'll find
well,
something that'll fit.
yeah. And some people knock the six-stage match. I personally like it, and I'll say this over and over again. If you're going to get your butt whooped in 8 stages, you're probably going to get your butt whooped in 6 stages. So, there's other people that may have a differing opinion, and maybe some people shoot this another stage a little bit different. But the good part is that you got plenty of time in the day if you shoot in the morning, the afternoon. Like we had lunch up at the clubhouse, which was
Yep.
great. It wasn't. It was a nice climate out during the match, but if it was a little warm, a little cold, or something like that, you can go into the clubhouse and there's an hour, even with shaking hands, kissing babies. There's at least 45 minutes to an hour to have lunch. And yeah, the match staff down at the WAC do an exceptional job. It's a great group of people for sure. So
Thank
yeah,
you.
everything was on time. It was clear, water on the bays. I mean, good shooting experience overall.
Yeah, we were very fortunate, when Zach just over 8 years ago suggested to the board that a level 2 match could consist of what we've now called the Speed Six,
Yeah,
and they agree to it. It actually opened up a number of opportunities for ranges to run that
yes,
level of match and not have to run 8 stages. You've been to the WAC numerous times. I don't have the facilities due to the fact that we're right in the middle of town and our bays have to be covered,
yeah,
and the different rules to be able to run all 8 stages. So the fact that we can do 6 stages has been a huge benefit to us in being able to run this match and provide that service back to the shooting community. In fact, I'm talking to some other ranges about, what we can do at those ranges to maybe bring a major to them as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Using the Speed 6 format.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to the history of Steel Challenge, and at least in the modern era, where that 6 stage thing came from was the South Carolina State Steel Challenge Championship, because
Yep,
Zach's home club didn't have the
absolutely.
space for it. So I think that was 2017-ish. But no, I'm glad that we were able to do that. 4, probably not. 6, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And Alan Coleman runs a 6 stage match, and there's been other
Yep.
6 stage matches, and I personally like them, but heck.
So I'm looking here. I'm looking at my t-shirts and I think that match started in 17. I didn't make that one, but I definitely made the 18 and 19.
so
Uh
so
because the
18 had the mosquito thing
oh,
on it,
both of
didn't it?
them do.
Yeah, yeah. 17 they did, and that's when we figured it out.
That was the mosquito match.
Oh my gosh. Actually,
Oh,
my dad used to live over there. Now he lives over by me here. But so we're in South Carolina. We got out of I said, "Hey, you want to go to the state match?" He's like, "Sure." So he watched me shoot and all that kind of stuff. He's like, "What the heck's up with these mosquitoes?" I know I've told the story probably 4 times, but that's when we realized that steel target paint sunscreen did have a bug repellent in it.
yes. Or the bug
So,
repellent has a sunscreen. It's one way or the other. I forget how it works.
yep.
Um, well, yeah, it was a great match. It's a I say it's a labor of love. Um, we keep it simple. I've got a great staff. I mean, we had I think the first year, um, I think I had 3 or 4 people helping me do setup. This year I had 9 helping me
Sweet.
do setup. And we had it laser leveled and everything straight. And it's again, it's for the shooters and, allowing them to enjoy the game, that you and I both love. And
Yeah,
that's exactly it.
and the cool part about, outside of the Red Hat program and all that kind of stuff, you have that, RO and range support is
Mm-hmm.
you've got a strong local shooter base. And that's
Yes.
where you see Steel Challenge thrive if we go back in time to the Griffin Gun Club days.
Mm-hmm.
The local base there was huge. I think Alan Coleman has cultivated that over in Augusta area. He's got a strong local club base. Kurt Grimes out in California has developed a strong local club base. So that's awesome to see.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Griffin's local match actually run over multiple days?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Their
yeah. So
level one was actually a multi-day, almost a major type setup.
oh yeah, no, and we've talked a little bit about the number of guns. So we used to run. It was a 6 stage match. We'd run Friday morning. So it was a 6 stage match Friday. Well, maybe not Friday morning. I think they started at noon, and then there was an 8 o'clock, and then maybe a 1 o'clock. So you had 6 squads. They capped them off at 10. So you had 180 guns there between the three flights. So you had one Friday after like noon
Yep.
1 o'clock. Then you had the 8 and then the 1. So you had 180 guns there. And then some of us divas, I'm not gonna mention any names, although I just called myself a diva. We would run with Glenn. We'd run a kind of like a let's call it an executive flight for some of us that weren't retired and had to work, still have to. We would run a session in the this time of the year. Well, it started actually next week throughout the fall, where we run get there at like 3-4 o'clock and run a squad later on in the day. So
Right.
I have been at a local match at Griffin Gun Club with over 200 guns. It was
Wow.
crazy. Oh no, it
Yeah.
was one of those that you had to sign up, or you want to shoot Saturday and you didn't sign up in like 30 seconds. Sorry, try
Yep.
next month. Yeah, it was a big deal. So they recently fired that back up. Haven't shot back over there. I think it's been going on for 2-3 months, and may make it a point to do that here in the next. It's not this weekend. This weekend, South River. Next weekend, probably. I'll see if I can't swing over there and see what's going on. But yeah, it's great when you have that level of shooters and local support for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And, again, one of the benefits that we have as down here, not only having that shooter support, but also having people willing to become range officers.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
The,
yeah.
the new Steel Challenge Range Officer program, and in fact, today is March 7th. Tomorrow, we're hosting another SCRO class at the WAC.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's going to bring 10 or 12 more ROs into the game. And my joke is I love it because you've got one person on the timer, one person on the pad, and 6 people in the back with their finger up when you miss.
Ah.
So you never have to worry about misses being missed. So
Yeah.
no, but it was good. It was great seeing you down here, and it's you look at who's been at this match, and I think you've made all but one, and you were
Yep.
sick
Yep.
last year.
Oh, yeah, that
Um,
was pretty bad.
yeah, and
Well, I don't know if that was last year or the year before. I think it was the year. I don't know. That's
unfortunately, it was a year you missed one of them.
that's
Um,
correct. That's
but
correct.
looking at some of the names that showed up, Jesse Grant was there and Reagan Hearn. These are people that have been there multiple times. Reagan, I think, since the very beginning,
Yeah.
when she first started shooting. In fact, I know that's the case that she was at that match because we were giving away Taxols and she
Yeah.
won one of them that year. And then you got new shooters. Jeff Gerstenlauer, he was a new shooter this year for the match,
Yeah.
and his
Yep.
wife Ernie. And for those that don't know, her name is Ernesta. She goes by Ernie. It's a woman. Jeff's not gay. Well, at least not outside. Maybe behind
Yeah.
closed doors. But hey, not that there's anything wrong with that.
Strike that from the podcast. Hey, did
Hell
I tell you
no, that's
about?
staying in. No, Jeff's a good guy and a lot of fun.
He is a
But
lot
yeah,
of fun, that's for sure.
a lot of people who are, not only, people who've been shot, or been shooting at the match, not been shot, but have shot the
Shot.
match.
Gosh,
There's a
that's
Freudian
a
slip.
different podcast by itself, Jeff.
That's getting edited out.
Is it?
And then, but all the new people, and, there's constantly new people coming in to the game, and to have them come shoot a major and enjoy the camaraderie. And, the one thing that I enjoyed too was we added 2 extra guns on each squad on Sunday, and that
Yeah.
helped bolster the numbers. But it also meant a lot more people were sticking around and able to shoot on awards day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for those that were fortunate enough to get an award, they could stick around and get it. So it was really good. Um, but there's some other news that's now official, Steve. Have you heard?
I don't know. Maybe I have.
Well, a couple of months ago, beginning of the year, we did a special podcast, and it was you and myself and Kirk Grimes,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
it was you handing over the reins of the steel target paint captain to Kurt, which we both
Yep.
agreed it's probably Maria, but we'll keep it in name with Kurt.
Yep.
But you've got some exciting news now that you can officially talk about, so let's hear it.
Yeah. So it was actually pretty interesting because when I was at the West Florida match, I immediately snuck off into Brian's fan, and we did Hunter's HD Gold Behind the Lens, and
Yep.
we did a podcast there, and it's kind of funny he threw it out there, but yeah, so I've been selected to shoot on Team Ruger. So, man, I'm super excited. It was tough to step back off a steel target paint shooting team. Larry and I created that and been a part of it since right at the beginning. So that was tough. And Larry has always been a strong supporter of me, and he's a close friend. And when this opportunity came open, we had a lot of discussion, and he said, "No, you'd be crazy if you didn't take this opportunity." And Jeff, how cool it is, man! It's the first gun I ever owned was a Ruger
Yep.
1022, and that's what I competed with at the WAC and Rimfire Rifle Open.
I saw the
The new,
gun and
yeah,
held the gun,
yeah,
and it felt really good. And you had a good showing with that gun. I believe you also shot. Did you shoot rimfire rifle with a Ruger?
yeah. I shot the Rimfire Rifle Open and then Rimfire Pistol Open, both with Rugers, and they still
Yep.
look like Rugers. You know what I mean? Because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we can customize a lot of stuff, and it's like, so what's left on that? But yeah, the Ruger 1022 with the carbon fiber barrel is, man, I think it's a game changer, and good luck trying to find one in stock. Because
Yeah.
I'm a dealer and I've reached out to several different dealers. I'm on waiting list to get them because I've had with the purchase of Crazy Ivan, we've had some people that are interested in them. But yeah, how cool is it to go back to where it all began and
Yep.
shoot for Ruger? Man, that's just like, it's so cool and humbling. I mean, it's like Ruger's a huge organization, and so I'm just humbled and flattered, and that they would want a guy like me. So yeah, it's
Well,
a big
well deserved.
opportunity,
And
and
I'm not going to say I speak for the community, but I will speak for myself and say congratulations, well deserved, and looking forward to seeing you on the range in that New Jersey.
heck yeah, no, I appreciate it, Jeff. It means a lot.
Well, cool. And now you mentioned one of your other ventures outside of giving us all triggers that we all love and compensators that we all love and grips that we all love. Uh, for those that aren't aware, you and Teresa are now the owners of Crazy Ivan, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. It's been again humbling the support that we've had in the community about the chassis and the original chassis. Which so there's three main versions of the chassis. There's the original, or what I call now the OG chassis, the takedown chassis, and then the competition chassis or the comp chassis. So the original chassis is meant for a Ruger 1022 without an integrated rail. So there's, I don't know how many millions and millions of 1022s are out there. But what that design does, and it's patented, is it converts a Ruger 1022 into an AR style platform. So again, with our patented design, you can put an AR handguard on the front, an AR grip on it, an AR buttstock, and it is built like a rock. So those will be shipping next Friday, a week from today. We've had a couple of little setbacks here and
So
there
let's
with
just hold on.
manufacturing and
Let's be
anodizing.
clear.
Yep.
Hold on,
Mm-hmm.
Steve. Let's be clear for everybody who's listening. Today's the
Yep.
7th, so you're talking about they're going to ship on the 14th, correct?
That's correct. That's
All
correct.
right,
Yep.
cool, cool.
And then 1 week later, if you like the chassis that I've been shooting, which is a competition chassis, which does take an AR buffer tube with an AR buttstock, mil spec buttstock, an AR grip, and then you can use a foam piece on a grip, or we offer an M-lock rail, and that's what I prefer. But there's a lot of people that like just having kind of like a smaller grip out on the barrel.
Sure.
That's gonna ship on the 21st. So we're gonna try to do it a little bit sooner, but we've had a lot of successful pre-sales with the original and the comp chassis, and no, we're super excited.
So for
It's a
those
pretty,
that don't know, they can go to the Creekside Custom website, correct?
that's correct. Creekside Custom Lasering, and then go to store, and then 1022, and you can find a bunch of stuff that you can't live without, Jeff.
Uh,
So
it's going to be another one. I should just let you have my creddet card on file. It's just that simple.
I know a guy that can make that happen. So one of the things that we are changing compared to what Carl did is we are offering the base chassis by themselves, but we're also putting together what I call kits. So the original chassis, we've got some handguards in stock, so we're going to sell an original chassis kit that's going to come with everything you need to get going besides the gun. And we're going to do the same thing with the comp chassis. There's two different levels of chassis with the comp chassis, but it's everything you need to just drop in your. Doesn't have to be Ruger 1022. Although, because I'm sponsored by Ruger, there's no reason why you shouldn't, Jeff. But
There you
yeah, I'll
go.
fit a full quartz and receiver. Pretty much, I haven't found a receiver yet that doesn't fit in the chassis. There are some precision chassis that are 1022 based. They have a tang on the back of them that screws down. They do
Mm-hmm.
not fit, but fits a Tactical Solutions and full quartz and Magnum Research, and I'm sure if you have questions about some of the others, let me know. But yeah, it seemed all the fit, and it's a lightweight gun with a good balance. And I had some questions about balance. With the original chassis, the
Mm-hmm.
center of weight is at the back of the magazine, and then at the comp with how we're selling them, the center of weight of the gun is right in the middle of the right above the trigger on the trigger guard. So they're well balanced. But if you love shooting your PCC and you want something that feels like it, and you got a 1022 laying around, that's what I'm shooting for an iron gun this year. Run the original chassis. If you like almost as light as it goes, or pretty light with good balance, then you can get the comp chassis. But
Super.
the key that we've seen though, Jeff,
Yeah.
is we've sourced a pretty nice buttstock, and we've got a couple of air grip options, but you can build it the way that you want it. You're not restricted to one type of grip or buttstock or something like that. So any AR mil spec stuff, bolts right on.
That was going to be my question. So, I could take I'm going to be like for the original chassis, I can put
Yep,
a standard AR buffer tube. Now, granted, I'm not going to have
that's
a
correct.
buffer system in it, but I can have the
That's
tube,
correct.
which then
Yep.
allows me to put any AR um uh, uh buttstock on it.
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome.
We've
Awesome.
and we've
Hey,
sourced a reasonable.
I
Go
want to
ahead.
just I want to give credit where credit is due. And you mentioned Carl. Carl was the original developer of
Yep.
this, correct?
Yep. Yep. He's the
And
one that started crazy. He was Crazy Ivan, and he's the one that designed and developed the patent, and came up with 22 revisions to the original design, and that's what we're producing today.
fantastic. Well, Steve, I mean, geez, I
Oh,
don't even want to know what's next because it's exciting to hear about it when it comes along. So, if there's anybody who's out there actually building equipment for the competitive shooting environment, you are clearly one of those people. I mean, my golden guns are tantamount to that with your trigger, your grips, your comp. It's amazing. So just keep up the good work and keep charging my credit card.
I will. Hey, I did have a question from somebody that was unexpected. So
Okay.
we were at a match this past weekend, and they asked for both the original chassis as well as the comp chassis. Well, how does it come apart? I said one screw, and they looked at me. They're like, "Nah, come on, man." Yeah, so if you want to, take the gun apart, it's just like, a Woodstock. It's got that one takedown screw, and they're like, no
Wow.
way. I said, yeah. So I got out my Allen head wrench set and took it apart and said, yeah, here you go. Here's how you drop the trigger and da 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 da. But it all comes out the way that it would go into a Woodstock. So you don't have 83 screws or anything crazy like that. If you need to take the original chassis apart, there is four screws in the top that anchors it to the receiver, but I don't really see a need why you'd ever want to do that. And of course, usually most handguards are one or two screws, but to take the fundamental gun apart, to clean it, take the bolt out, to take the trigger group out, any of that kind of stuff, one screw. So,
Fantastic.
and I was surprised to get that question this weekend, but thought I was bored enough to reiterate.
Well, again, someone sees, something as precisionally built as what you've got there.
Yeah.
It's a fair question,
Yep.
So well, that's fantastic. Well, all right, Steve. You know what? I am heading off to a seafood festival. And so I am going to cut this one short. It's been a great one. We
Sounds
got
good.
some good information out. So I hope you have a great weekend. Good luck next week in distributing the Crazy Ivans. The original, right? The original is going to be on the
Yep,
14th, and the
that's
comp is
correct.
going to be on the 21st. So,
That's correct.
and again, for those that are interested, CreeksideCustomLasering.com. He's got the Crazy Ivan stuff up there. He's got his compensators. He's got his triggers. Look around there. There might be something we've never even talked about that you might be interested in. I know
Absolutely.
I'm thinking, one thing we talked about a while back, but I'm seeing a few people starting to use them more and more are the 2245 base pads.
It's crazy. I was out of stock, and I've sold quite a few sets of them. I actually just placed another order for more.
Yeah,
So yeah, they've been really, really successful. So
fantastic.
yeah, that's cool.
All right, Steve. Well, I'm going to end the podcast with reminding everyone that you can go to rangestore.net for your steel target paint, knuckle towels. We talked about the bug spray, silicone spray, and use ST Podcast 10 at checkout for 10% off. Steve, good talking with you. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
Great talking with you, Jeff. Take care.
Bye bye.